Hi, friends. The world got you down. Don't be sad. Listen to $2 Late Fee with Zach and Dustin.
$2 Late Fee is the podcast that celebrates the best decade of entertainment, the 1980s. We pick a movie and soundtrack from our youth that we loved and see if it holds up today. We also interview your favorite celebrities from that era.
All in the spirit of positivity and togetherness. Check us out at $2LateFee.com.
Are you a fan of young adult novels?
Have you ever wondered the stories behind the people who wrote your favorite young adult novels?
Then join author Eric J. Brown
And Alyssa Lube of Netflix's The Circle
every other Tuesday on YAOK.
Available on all podcasting apps.
Woo!
Hey, Matt.
So we haven't done this for close to 2 years. I think
It's
the last
been a
time,
long time since we have done this, a single song.
Yeah, the last time we did this was Favorite Christmas Story by Capitol Lights.
Yes.
And the thought process there is the same as this one, which was that I knew that one of these days we're going to discuss the album that song was off of.
Yeah.
But I also knew that if we didn't give that specific song its own episode, it would take up most of the episode discussing that album.
And I think, honestly, what's funny is both that song and this song invoked, in my mind, the Mischief Brew song Dirty Pennies, because
Yes.
I feel like they sound similar, and even the stories are kind of similar in the way that they're told. So that's what has always popped in my mind. So it's funny that the last time we did this was a song that reminded me of that song, and this time we're doing this, and this is a song that, while this song and that song were both written before the Mischief Brew songs, that's the song that I know of. So one day we will have to do that song because it is set on Christmas.
Yeah, no, you sent me that song way back when we did the Favorite Christmas Story, and it's been a regular rotation on my Spotify ever since.
For sure.
So let me tell you a little bit of my background with the song Old City Bar by Trans-Siberian Orchestra.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know about other people, but I discovered Trans-Siberian Orchestra from hearing commercials about Trans-Siberian Orchestra on the radio and hearing that baller Carol the Bells cover and being like, what the fuck is this? Right?
Yeah.
So my mom got tickets for us to see Trans-Siberian Orchestra, and I didn't know what to fucking expect.
Yeah. So how old were you at this time?
I think they had just put out their second album, so maybe 12 or 13.
Jesus.
You know, like prime getting into Trans-Siberian Orchestra age.
Yeah, you know.
but so we go to that concert. And really all I knew was the Carol the Bells. And
You
it was
guys listen to New Kids on the Block? Nah, man, I'm breaking down to that fucking trans side, bro.
but you know, it was this Christmas show at the Tower Theater, and we had like seats, so we're just sitting and watching the performance.
Yeah.
And they did the album that this is off of, Christmas Eve and Other Stories, from front to back.
Oh, that's cool.
And they had an actor come out to read. If you have the album, there is a booklet that tells you the whole story in between every song. And they had an actor who came out and read all of the excerpts in between the songs so that you, the audience, could follow the story that they were telling.
That's neat.
In that album. And they brought out different vocalists for different parts. And obviously when they were doing like instrumental covers of Christmas songs, I was like, hey, I know this. And then when they were doing the originals, I was kind of like, all right, I can't wait for the next cover. Like the song's all right or whatever.
Yeah.
But I remember them playing this one and like me hanging on to every word of the song. Like I was just like, what is this song? And this was the song that as we were leaving, I remember asking my mom, like, can you buy me the album from the merch table? Which she said yes, but she was like, I'm buying it for you now, but it's going to be wrapped up and under the tree, so you're not going to be able to open it. Yeah, so I didn't get to enjoy the album until the day of Christmas. I don't get to listen to the
Christmas album until Christmas.
Yeah.
Fuck!
There was a bit of a flaw in that logic, for sure.
I'm sure it costs like $30 too.
Yeah,
like some ridiculous price.
I have no doubt that they were overcharging for that album. But it's been one of my all-time favorite Christmas songs. It's usually one of I try to save it for Christmas Eve. Usually this is going to sound so sad. But it's all right. It's all right. So, now that I work for a church, Christmas Eve is a very busy day.
For sure.
And the church has about 5 services, and the last service is from 10 p.m. until 11 p.m. and it's like a candlelight service.
Okay.
And then, I drive home to a house where everybody's already asleep or whatever. This is the song I listen to on that drive home.
I can feel that. I feel that feeling. So I totally, completely understand that, man.
So Dylan, were you familiar with this song before
Not
I
at
picked
all.
it? Okay.
I'm very familiar with Trans-Siberian Orchestra. My parents definitely brought me up on Trans-Siberian Orchestra. Funny enough, I always got them and Mannheim Steamroller confused.
I can understand that. So I think the biggest difference is Trans-Siberian Orchestra is a spin-off of an 80s hair metal band.
Really?
I want to say their name was Arrogant or something close to that.
Okay.
But if you look at it, the drummer, the bass player, and the 2 guitarists all were originally in this 80s hair metal band. And I think the story was that they did a cover of Carol of the Bells that used to go over really well.
Yeah.
So then they were like, well, we should do this as a side band. And then that side band became massively more successful than anything else that they were doing.
That's awesome.
And that's kind of like what I think is interesting about the Trans-Siberian Orchestra albums. And I think I have all of their albums. They're not all Christmas albums. Which is also kind of cool.
That's kind of cool. I mean, if you're into non-Christmas albums, I mean, that's
so they have this double disc that I don't love that much called like Night Castle, but they also they're better when they're doing their concept thing. Yeah. And they have an album called Beethoven's Last Night that is literally like the night Beethoven dies, an angel comes and shows him his life. And it's them doing heavy metal covers of every like famous piece of Beethoven music. And it's fucking dope. Like listening to like a guitar, and even though Beethoven didn't write this, they work in, because of course they had to, the Flight of the Bumblebee covered as a heavy metal song. And it's fucking amazing to listen to, because you're just funny. Like, this is so, you just imagine how fast the dude's fingers have to be moving like up and down that fretboard to do the song. But all of their albums, for the most part, are concept albums. They've been putting out these Christmas albums for about, I think they've had 3 Christmas albums. The first one is absolutely the best. It's the most thought out, but they've always been an instrumental band that hires vocalists for specific songs, which adds a lot of variety. Like the guy who sings Old City Bar does not sing any other songs on this album. This is just his song.
I wish he did
on the album. I love his singing voice. I really love
his voice. It's so good. There's such a perfect rasp to it.
Yep.
Like
it sounds like, and here I'm going to admit the next thing here. Every time I listen to a song, I sing along with it. I know it word for word. It's like one of my favorite songs. And there's a part in the song where I start to crack and cry.
Yeah.
But I think that he, in his voice, cracks and cries in a certain part of the song too. There's like 1 or 2 parts where like you hear that this song is hitting him as a singer a little bit, because I think lyrically this is one of the most beautiful, like, this is what Christmas is about to me songs that I can think of. In I'm going to jump ahead because we are going to probably cover most of the lyrics, but
yeah, for sure.
The bridge, to me, I'm going to read this bridge.
If you want to arrange it, this world you can change it. If we could somehow make this Christmas thing last by helping a neighbor, even a stranger, to know who needs help. You need only just ask.
If you wanted me to explain my thesis of what Christmas is actually about, it is the bridge of this song, which is if you want to arrange it, this world you can change it. If we can somehow make the Christmas thing last by helping a neighbor or even a stranger to know who needs help, you only just ask. And it's like, I think that encapsulates what I love about the Christmas season is that people are more willing to help a neighbor or even like someone that they barely know. And this song kind of pleading with like, we could change the world if we kept that idea in our hearts all year round. Like if we could bottle what we are like in December and make that who we are through January to November, like imagine how beautiful this world could be.
Yeah, for sure.
Like it's like the speech from Scrooged. Like
unfortunately, this song came out in '96 and things are looking not great.
Wait, I thought we were on the up and up.
Are we? Dude, this November is gonna suck, and I'm like dreading our favorite time of year just because of everything that's going to happen.
Listen,
and I'm so scared.
We might look, no matter what, let's just say that we'll probably need this podcast more than ever.
I think so. I think regardless of the outcome, regardless of how things go, yes, I think we'll need this podcast more than ever, and we'll need Old City Bar by Trans-Siberian Orchestra
100%
more than ever, because this is a great fucking song, dude. Thank you for introducing me to this.
Of course.
Hi, friends. The world got you down. Don't be sad. Listen to $2 Late Fee with Zach and Dustin.
$2 Late Fee is the podcast that celebrates the best decade of entertainment, the 1980s. We pick a movie and soundtrack from our youth that we loved and see if it holds up today. We also interview your favorite celebrities from that era.
All in the spirit of positivity and togetherness. Check us out at $2latefee.com.
Are you a fan of young adult novels?
Have you ever wondered the stories behind the people who wrote your favorite young adult novels?
Then join author Eric J. Brown
And Alyssa Lube of Netflix's The Circle.
every other Tuesday on YAOK.
Available on all podcasting apps.
Woo!
Do you like to laugh, geek out on music, and learn all about that band or artist who had that one song back in the day, but then seemed to fall off the face of the earth? If so, you need to subscribe to One Hit Thunder. Together with an array of interesting and hilarious guests, we do a weekly dive into one-hit wonders like Eiffel 65's Blue, Krayshawn's Gucci Gucci, EMF's Unbelievable, Delamitri's Roll to Me, Los Del Rio's Macarena, Musical Youth's Pass to Dutchie, and even Patrick Swayze's She's Like the Wind. So are you subscribed to One Hit Thunder or what? As Desiree would say, you gotta be. And as K7 would encourage, you gotta come, baby, come and join in on the fun of the One Hit Thunder podcast.
Come, baby, come, baby, baby, come, come. Come, baby, come, baby, baby, come.
So let's break down the lyrics from front to back real quick.
Yeah.
It's a long one, so I'm going to kind of do two verses at a time here.
Okay.
Or a verse and chorus or whatever. So the opening verse and first kind of chorus.
In an old city bar that's never too far from the places that gather the dreams that have been. In the safety of night, with its own neon light, it beckons to strangers, and they always come in. And the snow, it was falling, the neon was calling, the music was low, on the night, Christmas Eve. And here was the danger, and even with strangers inside of this night, it's easier to believe.
In an old city bar that's never too far from the places that gathered and the dreams that have been, in the safety of night, its old neon light, it beckons to strangers and they always come in. And the snow it was falling, the neon was calling, the music was low, and the night Christmas Eve. And here was the danger, even with strangers, inside of this night, it's easier to believe. So we're painting this picture. It's just this old
we're getting
bar.
some exposition. We're getting some exposition here.
Yeah, we're imagining the bar. We're imagining this bar where, it's Christmas. I think the big takeaway is that it's Christmas Eve, and it feels like this bar is just filled with a bunch of strangers who don't know each other. It's not like a big party of people who've come in. It's just the lonely transients who don't really have anywhere else to go are coming into this bar. That's
it's the outcasts, it's the misfit toys, and they're kind of being cast aside by society or their own families or things like that, and they're all coming from different walks of life, and it's kind of just there's a few people here, but everyone's kind of sitting on their own.
Yep. All right, so verses 2, 3 in the chorus.
Then the door opened wide, the child came inside, that no one in the bar had seen there before. And he asked, did we know that outside in the snow that someone was lost, standing outside our door? And the bartender gazed through the smoke and the haze, through the window and ice, that corner street light, where standing alone by a broken payphone was a girl the child said could no longer get home. And the snow, it was falling, the neon was calling. Bartender turned and said, not that I care, but how would you know this? The child said, I've noticed if one could be home, they'd be already there.
The door opened wide, and a child came inside that no one in the bar had seen there before, and he asked, did we know that outside in the snow that someone was lost standing outside our door? And the bartender gazed through the smoke and the haze, through the window and ice to the corner street light, where standing alone by a broken payphone was the girl the child said could no longer get home. And the snow it was falling, the neon was calling. The bartender turned and said, not that I care. And this is the part that always kills me. But how would you know this? The child said, I noticed if one could be home, they'd be already there. That is a hell of a line. But seriously, that if one could be home, they'd be already there is a hell of a line. Mm-hmm. And I like what that line means in a couple different ways, right? Because not only is he saying this little girl is outside, and if she could be home, she would be home. Yeah. But it's also a statement about all of the people who are inside the bar. Yeah. In the sense that they can't be home.
Yeah.
If they
wouldn't be home, be here if they could be home, if they had a home to
if they had a home to go to for Christmas. And I love the poetry of this song. Like the way it just describes everything. Like the bartender gazed through the smoke and the haze through the window and ice to a corner street light. Like that is just top tier.
Yeah. Like the image is very, very vivid in my mind. I've seen this bar. I've been in this bar. Like, yeah, it's great.
Yep. All right. So into the verses 4, 5 in the bridge.
And the bartender came out from behind the bar, and if all of his life was never that far, and he did something else that he thought no one saw. Then he took all the cash from the register drawer. Then he followed the child to the girl across the street. And we watched from the bar as they started to speak. Then he called for a cab and he said, JFK. Put the girl in the cab and the cab drove away. And we saw in his hand that the cash was all gone from the light that she had wished upon.
The bartender came out from behind the bar, and in all of his life, he was never that far. And he did something else that he thought no one saw when he took all the cash from the register drawer. Then he followed the child to the girl across the street, and we watched from the bar as they started to speak. He called for a cab, and he said JFK. He put the girl in the cab, and the cab drove away. And we saw in his hand that the cash was all gone from the light which she had wished upon. And then the bridge that I already read, if you want to arrange it this way.
The owner of that bar is going to be pissed.
I'm imagining this is the owner of the bar.
Okay, let's just make sure. Okay,
yeah.
cool.
I would imagine that the owner of the bar is probably the guy working the Christmas Eve shift.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just always asking the hard-hitting questions.
Look, you never know. You never know. This song could take a sad turn when this guy gets fired by the owner the next morning.
On Christmas Day.
On Christmas Day. It's a real Scrooge situation. But
well, then I got fired from my job at the bar.
But the line that usually, I mean, the bridge kills me, but that line leading right up to it really gets me, which is the we saw in his hand that the cash was gone from the light that she had wished upon. Like the idea that, because I imagine this little girl. I mean, little girl, I think in the story, she's like a teenager, like out of college type.
Yeah.
Like in college.
For some reason, I was picturing like a 10-year-old kid.
No, it's because there's a song called
Ornament. It doesn't
Ornament.
make sense if it's a 10-year-old kid. Like,
yeah, he's just sending them to an airport.
Here, JFK. The kid just shows up.
So the plot, whenever we do the full Trans-Siberian Orchestra album, I'll have to reread the booklet to remember the full storyline. But I believe the plot is very similar to It's a Wonderful Life, where there's like an angel that has to make a Christmas miracle happen.
Yeah.
And there's a song called Ornament that's sung by this little girl's dad about how he knows that he's made mistakes and caused him and his daughter to be estranged, and all he wants is for her to come home this Christmas. And he looks at the ornament that she made years ago for the tree and is missing her. And then this is the story of how that angel makes a miracle happen with this girl being able to go home for Christmas and like work out the relationship with her dad.
Okay.
So like I said, just based on that, I'm imagining she's like late teens, early 20s, probably like college age in New York for school or whatever. But I still get that image of even like a college student, like you're in New York, maybe you can't see the stars because of all of the neon lights and everything. So you're wishing on just a street lamp that's hanging up in the sky. And like, that's what also illuminates the fact that the bar owner no longer has money in his hand to the people. Like, I just love that symmetry. So we get to that bridge and then the end of the song.
Then he looked for the child, but the child wasn't there. Just the wind and the snow, waltzing dreams through the air. So he walked back inside, somehow different, I think. For the rest of the night, no one paid for a drink. And the cynics will say that some neighborhood kid wandered in on some bums in the world where they hid, but they weren't there, so they couldn't see by an old neon star on that night, Christmas Eve, when the snow it was falling, the neon was calling. In case you should wonder, in case you should care. Why we on our own never went home on that night of all nights. We were already there.
Then he looked for the child, but the child wasn't there. Just some wind and some snow waltzing dreams through the air. And he walked back inside, somehow different, I think. For the rest of the night, no one paid for a drink. And the cynics will say that some neighborhood kid wandered in on some bums in the world where they hid, but they weren't there, so they couldn't see, by the old neon star on the night Christmas Eve, when the snow was falling, the neon was calling, in case you should wonder, in case you should care, why we on our own never went home on that night of all nights. We were already there.
Oh,
and I love that
fuck,
it's basically saying like they found their own family in this experience too. Like not only did this girl go home to her dad, but like the bartender's act of generosity, like in my head, to use the phrase headcanon, which is a great phrase. It's my headcanon. My headcanon is that this group of people come together at this bar now every Christmas Eve. The bartender has the drinks for free for the people who were there that night. Yeah. And they just reminisce on this like one moment that kind of changed their lives.
Oh, I want to see that movie.
Way.
I want to see, I want to hang out with these people. God damn it, Matt. Where's the follow-up? Is there a sequel to this?
There isn't. There's no the old abandoned bar where it's like
we hang out on Facebook now.
Yeah,
Facebook groups.
We don't talk to Gary as much because his political posts are really upsetting to us. But
everyone can have their own opinion, man. But listen, I don't want to hang out with Gary anymore.
But yeah, so that's Old City Bar. I mean, I guess the big question, Dylan, is this making it onto the Christmas playlist?
Oh hell yeah! Honestly, I think I'm gonna make it a priority to check out a couple of these albums in full.
Yeah, well, I do. Season. I believe, but I'm pretty sure I have the album that this song is on my list for this year. I think this is the year I pulled the trigger on us discussing that album.
Cool. Yeah, so. Yeah. And you said like these albums have stories to go with them.
They literally in the album booklet. Okay. Not only do they have the lyrics to the songs, but in between every song is like a good 2 or 3 paragraphs in italics that like the ideal way to do it is to read that, hit play, and then when the next instrumental comes on, you kind of read the connective tissue between the lyrical songs and everything.
Yeah, I'm gonna need you to scan me that and send the PDF.
What are you talking about? You can't find this for $1 at some used CD shop.
Oh yeah, the cows across the street from me are selling used CDs.
Fine, I will try to scan
I'm just
these.
Kidding. I'm sure.
Whatever.
I am 100% sure these are somewhere on the internet, and if they're not, I will buy the CD. I'll go on eBay and buy the CD for like $1 or whatever. Honestly, the vinyl is not that expensive, so I might pull the trigger on that jam. I don't have enough Christmas vinyl. Honestly,
hey, important thing for any Christmas 365 respectable fan. Nope, not at all.
It's not, because the problem with that is like there's so much Christmas music that I want to listen to around that time of year. And yes, we have our podcast, but I'm not jamming out to Christmas music right now, mainly because it'll get really fucking old after a while and I won't want to enjoy it. Plus, it makes it a little less special. So I don't know if you're aware of this, Matt, but vinyl records in 2024 are really fucking expensive.
Yeah. Dude, I'm going to tell you right now, though, the deal of the century. Well, yeah, we'll take that lightly. But at Creature Feature Weekend, the deal of the century was that how familiar are you with the movie The Mutilator?
Yeah. I have the Mutilator I have the Arrow Blu-ray.
Okay.
And I like that movie. And I know that because I have a few friends that worked on the second one, and you guys got to see it this weekend.
Yeah,
right?
I loved the second one. But here's what I wanted to say.
So worth checking out, but in like a bad, it's good, worth checking out.
I would say like a trauma kind of way.
Oh, sweet, cool. Kind of like that one movie you had shown me.
Yes,
the movie
Heebie-jeebie TV.
Yeah, shout out to those folks because that movie was so much fun.
Well, here's what I was going to say. At the Mutilator table,
they had that.
They were
heebie-jeebie Blu-rays.
No, they had the original 45 single for the Fall Break theme song from Mutilator that they were selling for $15.
Oh, nice. Cool. Shit, yeah.
And they were clearly like, when we got our copies, it's like, oh, these aren't reprints. This is literally like they cut these in 1984 expecting this movie to be massive. And these singles have just been sitting there, which the other cool thing I learned is that Fall Break theme song from the Mutilator written by the guy who wrote Under the Boardwalk.
That makes a lot of sense.
It does, because it's got that same like summer vibe to it. But
dude, that movie rules. But I can't wait to check out the second one. I can't wait till that's like streaming somewhere that I can.
I won't use names, but I'll say 2 out of 3 of the hosts of Horror Movie Night thought it was a masterpiece.
Can I probably guess who didn't like it?
Probably. Anyway,
I love that gentleman very much, but I can probably guess who didn't like it.
But anyway, Dylan,
Eli loved it.
I want to spend every Christmas Eve with you in an old city bar.
Right outside the light that we pretend is a star.
Oh, whoa, oh, now we won't stop till the big ball drops on New Year's. Happy holiday, have a great holiday, have a merry happy holiday.
Hi, friends. The world got you down. Don't be sad. Listen to $2 Late Fee with Zach and Dustin.
$2 Late Fee is the podcast that celebrates the best decade of entertainment, the 1980s. We pick a movie and soundtrack from our youth that we loved and see if it holds up today. We also interview your favorite celebrities from that era.
All in the spirit of positivity and togetherness. Check us out at $2latefee.com.
Are you a fan of young adult novels?
Have you ever wondered the stories behind the people who wrote your favorite young adult novels?
Then join author Eric J. Brown
And Alyssa Lube of Netflix's The Circle.
every other Tuesday on YAOK.
Available on all podcasting apps.
Woo! You're listening to the Geekscape Network.